Welcome to the mix, it's Gen-XYZ, we're X to Z, we blend, dissect society. No topics out of bounds, 3 generations deep, we're breaking new ground.
Hello and welcome back to the Gen-XYZ podcast. I'm DJ.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Asya.
And I'm Greg.
And this week we are going to be discussing the jobs we've had, from our first jobs to the jobs that we loved, that shaped us, and to maybe even our dream jobs. So I guess let's start here with Greg. And I would like to start with our first jobs.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. My first job, I was young. I think I was a caddy at a private country club golf course. And I worked carrying old men's bags, maybe old to me at the time. Maybe they were only in their 40s. But I remember I worked with a lot of really mean people. I carried a lot of guys' bags who were real assholes. And then there was a lot of great men too that I caddied for. So it was kind of a hit and miss on who you got on Saturday and Sunday to caddy for.
And so what did you love and what did you hate about that job?
So obviously I love golf. I'm a golfer to this day. Golf is one of my most favorite sports. I live and breathe it, actually. Every weekend I'm watching a golf event during the season, and I play a lot all year, and I love it. It's one of my favorite sports. So what it did for me is it taught me golf etiquette, taught me about being fair, being honest. When no one's looking, you're honest. And doing the right thing when no one's looking is really a hard thing. And so it builds character, teaches you discipline, to trust in yourself, to work really hard, to practice. So all those things I learned out of golf. And I remember my grandpa, I believe, is who took my brother Steve and I first when we were 12. That's when I started golfing. And I've never stopped since then. So that's been 42 years I've been playing golf.
And so what did you dislike about that job?
I disliked in the piss and rain carrying someone's bag for 18 holes and slipping or falling down a steep part of the grass where I'd go down. I wasn't allowed to have golf shoes, so I didn't have spikes. I just had tennis shoes. And then you're carrying a bag that's as heavy as you are. It weighs as much as I do, right? I'm only 14. And I immediately go down and his clubs go crashing. So then you get the golfer looking at you like, I'm going to kill you. You just hurt my clubs. Yeah, there was some bad times or they'd blame me. They'd throw a club into the woods and I'd have to go fetch it. And it'd be my fault. Why didn't you tell me to use a different iron? And I'm like, well, I don't even know what your game. I just met you. How would I know what club you're going to use?
And then you just say, I thought you were a good golfer. Yeah. That would go over well.
Wait a second. I thought you said you were really good at this game and that's why you have a caddy.
So how about Asya?
Man, my first job, literally a job where someone else pays you, like an employment job, or just okay.
A jobby job.
I think my first jobby job, this was kind of a school project that led me to this job. I worked in a facility that distributes piercings. So in our hometown, that was actually the uncle of a good friend of mine who had this brand. And I went in there and basically did shipments and collected orders and counted a lot. And it was a very, very interesting situation for a 15-year-old, being with all these tattooed up people with piercings and implants, kind of like devil horns and
out of their forehead.
Yeah, out of their forehead, or little hard implants under their skin on their chest. So it was
I've seen that.
A complete different environment than what I was used to, because I feel like my mom tried to always shield me from certain things. But
what did you love about that job?
I mean, I did like the culture in general. Everyone was super friendly, even though they might have looked a little intimidating. They were all very sweet. There was no, I don't know.
Was there lots of screaming?
No.
When people are getting pierced?
Those are the coolest people ever.
It's just the products. So it's just belly
you didn't
button
see anyone getting
piercings and
pierced.
lip piercings. No, it's like
I got you.
it's the
You're
it's-
distributing the product for
Exactly.
an actual person to pierce.
Yeah, but it was cool because it was creative. So the wife of the owner was kind of the creative designer. She made a lot of t-shirt designs and stuff. That was cool. There was a lot of nice, just like cool music playing all the time. So I was exposed to new genres of music. If it was Britpop or rock or I don't know, harder things. That was always fun. New stories you've never heard before, just about certain piercings people would ship out. And just like, do you know what this is for? And I was like, no, do I want to know? But yeah, just kind of getting out of your comfort zone, being exposed to something new. That was super nice.
What was the most awkward one? A piercing.
What do you
Like-
think?
Well, I'm not talking about privates or genitalia.
Yeah, but
just a
those
weird
are
one, like
the-
someone wants one out of the side of their neck or something. I mean, like a weird one. We already know the genitalia wouldn't be considered weird because so many people do it. But
Well, they stretch out a lot of things
Yeah.
if it's like beyond your earlobes. So those are
okay.
interesting, or even maybe in your chin area. They would stretch that area under
Like
your
a
lip
gauge
out.
in
Yeah.
your chin.
Yeah.
So you could drink out of a straw easier.
Yeah. Or one person.
But wouldn't it be below your teeth and your lower gums?
Greg, details.
You can
Yeah.
stick your tongue through it.
Yeah. I had one coworker who had those plugs in his cheeks with probably like 1/2-inch holes. And then they had a clear plug in there so you can see their teeth.
I bet it smelled.
Maybe
Yeah, that's just not right.
I bet it smelled so bad.
maybe we should all get pierced on the next
Yeah, there we
episode
go.
live.
Let's do a challenge.
stop-
I've pierced
stop
multiple
m-
people's ears. I've pierced my own ears. I can do it.
Stop mocking my first job. I really liked them. They're very sweet. And what I liked about it is they had the newest technology in town. Because where I'm from is like a tiny village. And they had the fingerprint to get in. And this is almost 20 years ago.
Wow.
And just like, cool. Ooh, here's another good one. They would hire a personal chef, I think 3 times a week, who would cook for all the employees. So they would have a vegetarian dish, and I think they had 3 dish selections, and you kind of have to tell them 1 day or 2 day in advances if you're gonna eat on Wednesday and what kind of food. But yeah, they had a private chef cooking for us.
So what was the negative side of that job?
Nothing. Literally nothing.
Not even being on time or
No.
Were they all your age?
No, they
You were
were.
younger.
I was probably one of the youngest there. No, they were just, this is just great. It's weird to say. I have nothing. My boss was super nice.
That is really weird to not have one thing you didn't like.
How long did you work there?
Probably not too long. Probably maybe 6 months, maybe
Yeah.
9.
and they paid okay and everything like that?
Everything was super fair, super nice. And that's why I said the way I got into this job was through a project in school, which was called Project Day Work. And you had to pick one job for 1 day, and the money you were paid as a salary, you would donate to a cause or to the school. I think the school had a cause. And I did that for 1 day, and I really liked it. And they liked my work ethics. And they say, hey, if you want to work here, you can work here.
Cute.
So that's very interesting. How about you, Jordan?
My first real job was Jimmy John's, making sandwiches and working at a hair salon as just a receptionist. Yeah, it was my cousin's hair salon that she was working at, and there's a lot of perks. I was 16. I was able to get my hair done for free and haircuts and everything, so that was really nice. And then I don't know why I applied to Jimmy John's. I was like in high school, and
Is that sandwiches? Or
Yeah.
what's
They
yeah.
loved you there.
yeah, but it was just like, it was fun. I was 16. That was like those were my first 2 real jobs. I've always had multiple jobs at once. Even like now, like I just always have. But yeah, it was funny.
So what was your favorite part about that or those jobs, I should
I'll talk
say?
about Jimmy John's because the hairstyling, it was just like, it was whatever. Like I was just doing appointments, but like receptionist work. But Jimmy John's, like everyone was just insane, like just all drugged out all the time, and just like, I don't know.
Were
It was
they
just a
your
really
age?
funny work environment. No, they're older. It was like my age to probably like 25, and then you get like the wild 50-year-old in there. That you're like, what's going on here? But no, it's just really fun. Like it was like you're hanging out with your friends all the time, and that's what I like. And then,
Wait, how fast did you have to make a sub? Because Jimmy John says it's so fast you'll freak.
it had to be fast. I could never get the wrapping at the end. Like I still couldn't. Like I could never do it right. Like all tight.
So yours were the one in my bags that were all massively messed
No, I could
up.
never get it right. No, that was a fun job. It was just like dumb. Like it was just like a fun high school job, and yeah, it was hilarious. Lots of good stories. Yeah.
Good environment though.
Oh yeah.
What was the worst part about that job?
Like any job in the customer service, just like dealing with. Well, the worst was when a delivery was wrong, and they would call and be like all pissed, about whatever. But then it's like, okay, you're like having 16-year-old kids making your sandwiches, and like half of them are on drugs. Like, it's
Did
like,
they know they were on drugs?
no, I mean,
But I know what you mean.
yeah, like
One
it's just like, what? Yeah,
But
Did you tell anyone they were on drugs?
no.
One of my later jobs was working at a pizzeria, and it was like you have the person who delivers, and they would forget stuff all the time.
Yeah.
You have like all the pizzas and pasta, and they always forget the salads. Yeah.
No, people get pissed. Like,
People get so angry.
no, or when it was like, because we were right by by a park with like fields. So like after like soccer game or after like football games, or whatever, like that was the worst. Because there's like 15 kids running in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about yourself, DJ?
Well, so my first real job, I guess I would had to have been 16 because I had to drive there. Not that I didn't work before that, but this was a real job. I was a house painter, but I was the back roller that, the guys above you on the ladder spraying, and I'm the kid below him rolling it.
Yeah, back row.
So yeah, it just meant that I was in this rain of paint all day, every day. And then, I was the young one.
Did you wear goggles?
No.
Oh, so the paint went right in your eyeballs?
Yeah, I didn't know there was another option. They never mentioned any of
Did you
that.
wear
They just said,
anything?
"Here you go, kid."
Yeah, but I think if you did have goggles on, in about a second, they'd be covered. You need little windshield wipers
Yeah,
on them.
exactly. And it'd just smudge all over the place.
Yeah.
But and I also had to take all the light fixtures off the house, and they always told me it was fine, even in the rain. But the power was never off. So I remember getting electrocuted so hard that I almost just fell off roof after roof. So that was fun.
You mean you're on a ladder leaning over to undo a sconce off of a wall, and then you're almost falling off the ladder.
Well, usually, we're in Washington, so it's always raining, even in the summer occasionally. So I'm on a roof, on some angled slope up there, just trying to undo it without any tools and just kind of pulling it apart. Yeah.
Well, any other downsides? How was the team? Were they nice at least?
It was mostly downsides.
Great.
So I had to get up at 4, I think, in the morning, and I had to drive an hour to get there by 5, something like that. And then they put me in the back of this van that had no seats in it because it was full of paint and stuff like that.
Why
You
did
just
you
sit on a
choose that
5-gallon bucket?
job?
Because the neighbor lady hooked me up with
But
it.
it's a terrible job. Why
Well,
did you take it?
Yeah, but when we were young, we just take them.
Yeah,
because
I
we
was
need
just
money.
happy to have a job.
But
Yeah.
there's better ones.
I didn't know how to find a job that was better than that at that time with no...
Okay.
Germans know how.
Yeah.
Apparently.
It's not really like that around here, especially, back in that day and age. It was
We
like...
just trying to find food.
Yeah, the
Oh.
neighbor lady got you a job, or you're going to go and not embarrass our family, right?
Right.
That was the situation.
Right. I agree.
How long did you work there?
That was just probably about 6 months or something like
Okay.
that. It was an extended summer.
Any upsides?
Hold on, they put me in the back of this van that I'll never forget because I had an old 5-gallon paint bucket, and that was my seat.
Was it a kidnapper van?
Oh, fully.
Okay.
Yes. No windows of any sort. So I'm back there with all the rollers and everything, and we're going down the freeway, and they take a turn, and I would just hit the wall. I just remember.
So they were doing that on purpose then.
Obviously.
No, they
Dude, they were totally messing
No,
with
this
you.
might be offensive, but they were drugged out rock and rollers.
Oh, okay.
They didn't even notice. They were just listening to AC/DC and just heading to the job site.
Right. So some white guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
With
Okay.
long greasy hair and all that kind of look.
Upsides to that job?
I enjoyed eating my sandwich at lunch, I remember.
I remember
'Cause-
that too with my jobs.
No
that
private
lunch
chef?
was the best.
To a private chef. I was just eating my tuna fish sandwich, and I was just so happy about it because I wasn't working at that moment. And they always
And you're
told
starving. By lunchtime, you're starving.
me, oh,
because
absolutely.
of how hard the physical labor is.
Right, you're just sweating and everything.
Yeah.
But they did
Something
tell me,
Ozzy doesn't know about.
Not on that first job, no.
yeah, they did tell me I was the best worker they ever had because I guess
Aw.
every little kid isn't usually as serious as I was. I was very methodical about that job.
And
I
you
took
wanted it done
serious.
perfectly.
I just didn't want to embarrass my family. I had a lot of pressure, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So,
I think that's great. That's admirable. That's admirable. That's great that you were that young and felt that way. That's cool.
well, I thought it's what you had to do. It's a job.
Yeah, I know.
and you better
I
do
was
a
brought
good
up
job.
the same way as you, that way. So I get what you're saying. I'm saying most people don't think like that about reflection on your family, right? They walk in and go, "Oh, this job sucks. I'm out of here." Like there's no recourse or consequence, right?
Well, especially when you're like 16 too. Like no one's thinking about that. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So the fact you did and the fact I did, that I cared about what someone else would ever say about Greg, working. I didn't want to hear he's a lazy ass, right? Neither did you.
Well, and I wanted a good recommendation for the next job, too.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Thinking ahead. So, anyway,
What was your next job?
I was a service drive attendant at the local Ford dealer. And that was, putting the bags on the seats and the paper on the floor and maybe something on the steering wheel once in a while when people pulled up to get their car serviced.
Oh.
And then I'd have to drive it out into the back parking lot. And that was always a good time because every car that's brought into service is broken. So I remember there was a semi-truck that came in one time and they're like, DJ, pull it out. It's a manual. It had no clutch. It was all burnout. So as soon as you started it started just chugging forward. And I didn't know how to drive a manual yet. But I got
You
it.
learned
I got
today.
it. I learned.
through the door.
No, I opened the door ahead of time. But I remember the worst part about it, too, is the customer's always standing there watching
Yeah.
you do
Oh,
it
gosh.
with your boss and a whole other crowd of people
Horrible.
that are ready to laugh at you about that. So
That's why they put you in it.
probably it was a form of amusement.
Did
but,
you snoop in anyone's cars?
No.
Oh God.
Did you look in someone's glove box?
I would have snooped.
In there, you would have snooped.
Yeah, I'm a snooper.
You little butt.
I'm a snooper.
That's not even funny.
No, that was their privacy. I was a
Jordan doesn't care about people's privacy.
I
Yeah.
do, but I would be like for sure like curious.
to just see what
Yeah, just like open
look
up
in
the
their
center
side
console.
or
Yeah, just
something.
like, what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm a snooper.
Yeah, well, I will tell you when I drove the cop cars to get the windows serviced or other things that were outside of the Ford dealer, I looked around a little
Yeah.
bit because they left their laptop on.
Did you take bullets out of their gun there?
They didn't put even the not in service tag. So I was driving the state patrol cars, the county.
Did you turn on the lights and the siren?
No, that's a big time felony. Of
Oh,
course
No,
not.
you
Really?
just say it was an accident. You didn't know how to drive
You
this
hit
thing.
it. You
Well,
hit it.
maybe looking
That would have
back.
been my excuse right away. I would have turned them all on, and then I would have said, "I don't know. I thought I was starting the car. I didn't realize it was the siren and the lights."
See, then I would have lost that job and the trust to be the one kid that was able to drive that cop car. I think
True.
that's why they gave it to me.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you're driving if you can't turn on the lights and the siren.
True. It doesn't count.
You're just driving another car.
I just liked watching everyone get out of the way,
Yeah,
and they didn't know
Oh,
it was a
yeah.
16-year-old.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's so awesome.
yeah, that was a good time.
That is so nice.
I learned what the feeling of power was.
You should have, when someone started to pull over into the right, you just
Follow
stay
them.
right behind them till they just keep slowing down.
Well,
Till they just stop. You don't even have lights.
I will
on.
say the officer always talked to me before I took the car, and he said, "Now you know this is a felony, this is a felony, this is a felony," and they put the fear of God in me. So
you didn't want a felony.
no, I didn't
Smart
want to
kid.
mess with that officer. I mean, he's standing there, a big guy with a gun.
Right.
Yeah. So anyhow, how about this one? Maybe we can move on to the jobs that actually shaped us. Something that we were proud to have as a job. Something where we really wanted to learn, and it felt like it had more meat on it than these first jobs. So, Greg, how about you?
Oh, well, mine's easy. Mine's auto salon. So in the early 90s, I had a business in one of our cities here called the Auto Salon, and that is where I've probably worked the hardest labor I ever did in any job, and I did it for years and years, and it was really cool because what we did to automobiles was we brought them back to showroom quality, no matter what it was. So I redyed seats, carpets, we redid dashboards, airbrushing, touch-up paint, new quarter panels, all detail work, Scotch guards, paint sealants, undercoats, all of it, even the 3M products for headlight protection and hood protection from rock chips. So what was neat was I learned everything as I ran my business. I didn't know any of it, so I had to learn. I'd ask other paint professionals, what do I do with this compound and this polish? How do I get this black paint to look like I just drove it out of a lake and it's just wet, like you can see the pupils in your eyes in the paint. That was really important to me. I took pride in it, and I became probably the best shop in that whole city and ended up with 3 stores. I opened 2 more. And, for years, I took care of the richest man in the world, of Bill Gates. He was my client. All the professional athletes, all the coaches of our local professional teams. I just took care of, I was probably the most well-known shop there.
So that had to make you feel proud.
Very. Yeah, especially when I get all those referrals, and we had over 2,000 retail customers, and I had like 4 dealership accounts that those dealerships trusted me with all of their cars. So it was great. That really taught me about what you do to bust your ass, work very hard with your hands and your brain at the same time, and care about having things as perfect as you can get them, with our human condition not being perfect.
And so what was the thing that defined that as a job that you put in this category, I guess?
Because I was physically doing the cars. I was physically working on them.
How old were you?
That was 1994, so I was 25. I was 25 when that really, and there was something also in that year when I turned 25, which is really interesting. I'd love to hear from other 25-year-olds, 24-year-olds, even 23-year-old males especially. Did you have something click in your brain around that age where you just had a new drive and you knew you had to just take care of life? You had to take care of yourself and go produce. Or did you not ever have that happen to you? That happened to me when I was 25. Something just clicked, and I did whatever I had to do, even if it was till midnight or 1 a.m, still working on a car so it was ready by the next day when I had promised. Whatever it was, I didn't fail in that. So something clicked about my integrity and doing things as to the best that I can every single time that I can. And of course we fall short, right? We're human. So of course I would miss marks and do all that because you can't be perfect, but I always strive to be. I think that's what that place and that job did for me.
And so can I ask you, what was a negative side of that job that stands out?
Working on cars till 1 a.m, not having a life, not having a lot of social life.
Did it hurt your body?
No, I was so young. I was like rubber. I could do anything. And I was really skinny then. I probably weighed 168, 170 pounds. So I was thin and I could go. I think a negative was when a customer would be upset. I always hated that if they weren't happy with the outcome of the car.
Would it be something obviously you did it to your best knowledge and to your standard, right? So I guess that stings if someone's like, that's not good enough. Or
what would they complain about?
Yeah, so I'll give you a good example of how we changed an entire policy and a system of doing every single car that ever came into all 3 stores. From this one customer forward, changed my entire way that we did a car. And this is what happened. They came, they showed up, they saw their car. It was absolutely gorgeous. They loved it. It looked brand new again. They were so happy, and we did a lot to that car. And they drove away. And about a couple hours later, they pulled back up. And they were not happy. And they said, we just paid a lot of money for this. And you didn't even bother to open our trunk and get that cleaned.
Oh.
And the trunk was like sawdust and all kinds of stuff in there. And I felt horrible. So the policy changed by this. Every car from then on, that day forward, had to be backed into our garage bays with the vacuum cleaner on the back wall. So the very first thing that you touch on the car was the trunk. And they never got forgot again.
That's awesome.
It's such a valid point, though. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I would be mad.
Yeah, I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. The trunk's all part of the car,
Yeah.
right?
But that was basically just a mistake. Someone forgot to clean
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah. And it was because it's out of sight, out of mind. But when it's
Yeah.
the first thing you see, when you go to turn on the vacuum, is a trunk right in front of your face. It was never forgot again.
Yeah.
Because it's where our policy was, start with the trunk. And then we never forgot again.
That's awesome.
So, how about you, Asya?
My most shaping job, basically, or the job that shaped me most?
Yeah,
Or-
well, the one that kind of felt important for the first time.
I mean, really important. I guess well, you Americans don't have this. It's called Caritas, where there is, I don't know how to explain this. It is an institution and they have different branches. And one branch, for instance, takes care of old people and you're basically their support. You take care of people, right? I don't know what it's called, Jordan.
Like home care,
Like assisted living?
assisted care.
No, just like taking care of people. Basically
that?
caregiving.
A
right?
nurse.
No, just caregiving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
She was a caregiver.
Yeah.
Like in
like to-
people's homes or in a hospital or in
Well,
your home?
I was just trying to find that word. So I was a caregiver for the Caritas. And again, they have different branches, like old people, then people with
Special needs.
special needs and all of that. And so I worked in the special needs department. And I don't even know how I got in there. I think I had a friend who, I don't want to make this story too big, but sometimes after you finish high school, people do like, it's called an FSJ, which is a voluntary social year. And so my friend did that at the Caritas. And she told me they pay well. So I was like, I'll do that. Sounds good. I want to help people. I like people. And so,
But you like the money more.
well, it was a win-win situation. I was like, I don't mind doing the job and they pay well.
Yeah.
So, but that was the first job that was really meaningful in that regard. And I did some some things during the summer, kind of like a week where all these kids and even adults, I mean, it's from, I would almost say 4 years up to 50 years, right? You get everything. You get kids, adults, and all these things. And they would have little excursions. So you take them bowling or to the zoo or just,
So cute.
hang out. Sometimes I would.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. I mean, so that was just cool. Again, for me, it's a lot of things that are important to me is being exposed to everything there is. If it's like the crazy piercing people or people with handicaps or like I'm all over the place. If we talk more about all the jobs we've done throughout our lives, they're all so different. But again, I had this one girl, her name was Saskia, and she was a year or two younger than me, but had very, very big issues, like couldn't speak, couldn't walk, would be in a wheelchair, couldn't really eat, but she was so sweet when she laughed. So it's the little things, right, that makes you appreciate. And that job was just, I did that for 6 or 7 years.
Wow.
Every other week, I kept her. So I did the weekend excursions, but of her, I took care of her 7 years, every other weekend.
Okay.
And that's
So
just
cute.
cool.
I love that.
So were there any negatives to that job?
Nope. Not really any of my jobs
What about
have
changing their pee
negatives.
bags? Was that a negative?
I don't know. It's just part of the job. I would definitely have to do that.
Did it
Yeah,
ever,
but
have
that would
to
be a
change
did it
negative to
ever
me.
get
diapers.
physical?
Hmm?
Did it ever get physical?
No.
Okay.
I mean, not. No, they didn't. She never got aggro or
No.
hit or punch
That's
or
good.
everything. But I don't know. I don't think. I guess everything that's kind of a challenge could be seen as something negative.
Negative.
But I just like to solve like problems or tricky situations, and you just.
But that is the negative. That's why you're trying to solve to
But
make
it's
it better.
not negative.
But it is. It's what we're saying is that the part that's hard is what we would consider the negative in it,
But that's
because
the part that's exciting.
right, but you're still having to overcome a negative in order to make it positive. So what you're saying is when bad things happen or something tough happened and it was challenging, that's all we're trying to say. That feels like a negative right there, and then you tried to make it better.
But none of those things were really. They never felt like that to me.
You
I
never
would-
looked at it like that.
No, I mean, if I think of something negative, I help my uncle clean up his rental house every weekend, right? Mopping and vacuuming and then cleaning the dirty water. That was negative. I hated that. But whatever. Saskia, she's kind of not like a baby, but I don't know. I
get what you mean.
You don't really hear or parents complain too much about having to change their kids' diapers. Just, I don't know, just goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're
It's
saying.
weird.
It's just not your kid.
I understand what you say, but I don't know.
Okay.
Me?
Jordan.
I'm a lot like Ozzy. I've had so many random jobs. They've all been about people, and they've all been about working with people. I have a couple that are like big impact. When I moved to Montana for college, I started working at the low income daycare for like my first year of college. And it was all like students or staff that had kids. I think the kids were like 4 and younger, probably maybe 3 and younger.
I remember that.
Yeah. And that one, I just love kids. So that was really fun. But it was like really just like eye opening because, you know, there was girls that were my age that had kids, and it was like a low income daycare. So we like provided all the meals, and Montana State University, all of their chefs and stuff for all the dorm buildings would cook for our kids in the daycare too. And then, you know, we'd like teach them about like nutrition and all this stuff. And it was just like, it was like, it makes me like sad now, but like there were so many of them that were not getting like the right attention at home and like not getting like the right love. And you can just, you know, I was 18 years old, but like you can just tell and you can see it. And, you know, they're the ones that maybe act out a little bit more. They need a little bit more hugs or whatever it is. And it just like, I don't know. I think being so young, moving to a different state, like not really knowing anyone, like I'm so glad I did that job. And I don't know why I did it. I think because it was on campus and I liked kids, and I was just like, okay, like this all makes sense, you know? But yeah, that one was really special. And then I'm a yoga teacher, so obviously like that, you know, continues to impact my life and changed everything for me. But that's like a whole long road to go down. But in Montana and Big Sky is this place called the Yellowstone Club. And I worked there for like about a year, and I was doing property attending, which I've never done before. Like, you know, I've helped with his job sites and I can clean and whatever, but I didn't really know what it meant. Like, I didn't really know what it entailed. But same thing, like it paid well, and I was like, okay, cool, let's do it. So I applied and then had like the interviews and whatever. And then the Yellowstone Club is the only private ski resort in the whole world, like ski resident resort in the whole world. And it's like billionaires, you know, and you have to have like minimum like 50 million going to this to be there, to live there.
In your net worth.
Yeah. Like it's just, it's an ungodly amount of money like in this place. And so so the Yellowstone Club is a company. I worked for like an independent company that individual homeowners contact and like hire us to take care of their property. So yeah, we had like 16 clients, and you know, they're all over 10,000 square feet homes. That's like on the smallest end. That's like a chalet. But yeah, just taking care of their homes. And I never thought I would like it or anything, but I loved it. And I took a lot of pride in it, and I was really, really good at it. And I like moved up to supervisor like very quickly, and then we're like able to train people. And there was just like this, you know, these people have all the money in the world and whatever, but there's this part of me of like, these are their vacation homes. And I understand that, but like, I love the feeling of coming back to my house and it's clean. And it's like, I always was like trying to put myself in their shoes of just being like, oh, like I want to come into a clean bed, or I want to come into like a clean shower or whatever. And it's just like, I think also the detail in that job,
Explain. What do you mean?
think I'll ever learn like, I don't think I'll ever have another job like that with how detail oriented it was.
Yeah, say example.
I don't know. You have to like be able to walk into a room and point out every little thing that's wrong, that has dust on it, that has, that's not in alignment, that isn't, like, I can't even like describe it. Like, it's just, if there's on a rug, if there's like a little fray, like you have to be able to see that and do something about it and fix
clip it.
Yeah, and clip it. And like, it's just the level of like perfectionism, like I actually really loved. And I think like having just like ADHD and being hyperactive and whatever, like it was so good for me because I was working with my hands and I was just like I was able to see like start to finish. And I think from that have been realizing that, because I'm still trying to figure out my path and everything, but I think realizing that I really like to be able to see the start to finish.
I like that. I think I have to rethink my dream job now.
It's insane, like, because you're not going into a house that's messy.
Remember when you told me about expiration dates? Talk about that. Like, if there was something that was expired, you had to get brand new.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot of waste.
But explain it, because it was interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are like, people's fourth homes. It's a ski resort. So it's primarily just their ski homes. They're there once a year, if that. Yes, but all their bathrooms and rooms and everything are stocked for guests. But yeah, if there's like deodorants that were expired. Deodorants, I didn't even know deodorant when expired.
Seriously.
Yeah, so we'd have to like get rid of it. And it was just
it's
like
anyone that walks around that smells like BO, their deodorant expired.
No, I don't think
way.
deodorant doesn't
happened.
expire. Deodorant doesn't expire.
I agree.
Like, I don't, in like toothpaste, I don't
So
think
it's a
expires.
lie.
Like, but yeah, it was things.
And then what'd you
that-
do? Did you get brand new for that?
I can't talk about it.
Oh, okay. You're
Yeah.
not allowed to talk
No, I have
about
NDAs
that?
for life on all of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, sorry.
So that's cool.
No, but yeah, so it was really, really cool. Like, it taught me so much, and that it was a husband and wife that owned the company, and Ron was my boss, and he was working for another company, and that just wasn't working out. So he like made his own company and whatever, and then had these like amazing clients that he's had for, I don't even know, 12 plus years. And yeah, like it was just, I don't know, it was one of the first jobs that I've had so much like pride in, even though I'm not even talking to the homeowners, like I'm not seeing their reactions when they walk through the door or anything like that. But it was just knowing that, I don't know, something about taking care of someone's house I really like.
Knowing you're making a difference and making their trip happy because they got to walk into something that looked pristine and perfect.
Yeah, but I think like there's a lot of people my age that would, you're working for billionaires, like they'd be like, fuck these people, but like, and I never had that. Obviously there's some things where I was just
More like the view of beauty. It's
was,
so
like,
satisfying
it was,
how beautiful
yeah.
something is that's perfect.
Yeah, no, I think that was
Perfectionist.
that. And everything was so expensive, and it was like imported, and it was like I just wanted to take care of it. Like I wanted
That's really neat
everything
to
to
have
be
that ownership.
cool. But private chefs,
Yeah.
we would get those, and it was so nice.
Any downsides on that job? Anything?
Physical, like just labor, like it was hard. Like
and probably weird
my
hours too.
shoulders.
Like, hey,
It
we
was
have
just-
to get this done by that time. You're like,
Well,
2 hours?
and you're driving Big Sky Canyon, for anyone who knows, like is super dangerous, and it's our busy season's the winter, and for some reason they wanted me to drive the company vehicles because they trusted me, which is great, super big compliment, but like I'm in charge of everyone, getting them up the canyon safe and back down the mountain safe, and it's like sketchy as hell, like
Snow and ice
is-
everywhere.
like blizzards, like and
Yeah.
we're just like, hey, gotta get to work, like
Hey, I just remembered a downside on the on my last job.
the
When I was
caregiving.
talking, yes. It was the parents.
Yeah, I bet.
Because can't even talk about
I
it.
know.
Poof.
They were that mean. They were mean. Mean to you or
No.
to their kids?
Not me, no, the fact that they have these kids.
Yeah,
Oh,
And it's just so hard on them.
just like everything they're going through too.
yeah.
Yeah, you know.
DJ?
Well, that's a hard act to follow.
Sorry.
Mine would be working out of college at the first real job. I mean, I had several jobs as an engineer, but I'll say for Ingersoll Rand, because they're a global heavy equipment manufacturer. And I'll just say that was the first job where I had to wear khakis and wear a collared shirt and show up to my cubicle, and I had actual responsibilities, go to all the meetings, all of that. Yeah, I thought that was really cool because they trusted me to be their new product development engineer, and I was the only one in the whole company, at least in that section. I don't know what to call it.
Division.
In the Seattle building.
Yeah.
And I was just the new kid, and I thought, wow, I'm developing all their new products. That's interesting.
What were you guys
How was
developing?
sorry. I'll ask the question after you.
So specifically, we did a lot of work for oil and gas and shipyards and things, and we made high-capacity winches and hoists. And when I say that, we're talking some are powered by natural gas, some are powered by compressed air, and some are electric. But I mean, these are huge. You're talking, 100-ton, 200-ton, 500-ton sort of things.
Is it to lift like the big containers to go on barges? Those type of winches?
It's more heavy duty than that.
Oh, wow.
The hook, I remember for one of these hoists, I stood by it, and it would be from this floor to this ceiling just for the kind of bottom part of that hook.
Like a crane?
No. So a winch that just spools up cable.
Yeah.
Or a hoist that's like a chain hoist that hangs, and it has a chain with a hook on it, and it just goes up and down.
And what would they use it for?
So like in Chinese shipyards or things like that, they're lifting the whole side of the ship up, that's big, thick steel, and it's so heavy that you need a specialized thing to lift all that. And then in oil and gas, I mean, no one knows what a decoking tower is, but you have all these processes that you have to just lift stuff. And on the oil rigs, you have to winch stuff. And, some of the winches are on like the Washington State ferries. You can look up on the docks, and they have things to lift gates. And it just sounds boring. But they had this big test tower. And, I was designing all their control valves. And let's be honest, I had never designed a pneumatic,
but you figured it out.
Compressible fluid flow. Like, I can't even tell you how complicated that is. But so we had these big chunks of concrete that are, like 1 ton, and, it goes all the way up. And so I'd have to use my valve and lift this big thing of concrete. And then when it wouldn't work, it would just come falling out of the sky, and it would register on the Richter scale. I mean, it hit the ground so hard that it shook all of South Seattle.
And that was part of your research and development was to figure out.
It was just me out there by myself lifting a bunch of concrete and then machining some valve parts, and then but I finally got it down. I remember I showed my boss that we put a Coke can underneath that stack, and I lifted it, and I don't know how we got it under there because no way I'm going under that thing, but I could lower it down and set it on top of the Coke can.
And without
denting it, and that's when he was impressed. But anyway, it was the first job where people gave me the authority to do things that I felt like maybe I shouldn't be doing.
What was the downside of that job?
I don't work well in companies.
Why?
Because you can't keep me at my desk. I was down there talking to the janitors and helping sweep the floor for the machinists, and just learning to use all the equipment, and I was a little too much of a social butterfly.
You're a doer.
Yeah, I couldn't just sit in a cubicle till I shriveled up.
Never.
Is it a little ADHD? You're just all over the place doing whatever
It's not
comes
ADHD.
comes
It's
to
just
you?
boredom.
No, it's not ADD at all. It's something totally different. It's you sitting behind the desk means you're not producing, and you had to physically do things to feel productive.
Well, and I wanted to follow through on the things I made.
And your hand.
Yeah. So,
Well,
and then showing up in time and also half-hour lunch is not a good idea. I remember the engineers, we'd run out the door, hop in our car, drive over to the Arby's or something, and, spend half our lunch break in the drive-through or maybe running in, and then we'd be just shoving it down our face and then running back in, anyhow.
Yeah, 30-minute lunch is crazy.
Yeah.
That's what we used to get. 30-minute, a 10-minute, and
That's
a 15-minute.
That's when you just pack a lunch.
In an 8-hour day.
can-
Or was it 15 and 15? I don't remember. What did you guys have? We had a 15-minute break, then a half-hour lunch, then another 15-minute break.
Yeah.
Equaled your 1 hour working
Mandatory
a 9-hour day to
breaks.
be paid for 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Greg, next I want to move on to our dream jobs. What do you think?
A dream job.
How about we should be more specific? Our dream job when we were younger, starting to work. That's when you have your dream job. I think once you get older, I don't know if that really exists anymore.
I think, my dream, I know exactly what that would have been, because what I did want to do, and I specifically remember this, is I wanted to be a manager and choreographer of a show with musicians that we grew up with and that other generations grew up with, and do a literal 30, 40 city tour where all they do is get on stage in huge arenas of their fans, sit on a stool, and they tell their story from the beginning of their childhood, kind of like what we're doing right now. Tell their story, what it was like on tour, what it was like during all that time, what all of the ups and downs were, and then finish it with several, maybe 30 minutes worth of Q&A from the actual fans that get to ask questions to the artists. And I think that would be huge.
Like
for
retired artists?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I would want Neil Diamond to go do that tour. I would want Rush to go do that tour. I would want, people that love their artists, Boston, Leonard Skinner, whatever it is. Could be bands, could be solo artists, it doesn't matter. But it'd be neat to have a venue where their whole tour isn't about playing music. And while they're talking, they'd play like a famous hit song that they did in the background, like a live show filmed in 1982 while they're talking. I mean, just kind of bring the nostalgia plus of their whole life experience within their career and what they did and why they did it. And then leave it back to the audience to ask questions they've always wanted to know about their favorite artist.
Yeah, I'd watch that for sure.
I'd go to those. I would go to that. I would go buy tickets to go see that live.
Okay.
I would personally.
Well, that sounds pretty cool. Pretty
Second
creative.
chapter.
Yeah.
Second chapter of your life.
Yeah. Could be really neat.
All right. Asya.
I don't know. I never really had a future projection for a job. I don't know. Jordan?
I loved animals. So I always wanted to do, like, when I was really little, like vet. And then I was like, okay, maybe doctor, because I love people. And then I went to college and changed my major multiple times. And then, now I'm a yoga teacher. But when I was little, vet for sure. Something with animals, something with people, helping.
That would have been your dream job.
Yeah. I think now it's just opening up my own yoga studios, and what I want to do is teach people to become yoga teachers. Is what I ultimately want to do.
Teach the teacher.
Teach the teacher.
That's a good gig.
Be the master teacher.
Yeah.
Your master sensei.
The sensei. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone, like, I'm 23. Like, I've had so many thoughts of like, oh, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this,
Yeah.
I know
for
I
sure.
could do everything, but like, it's just, I don't know. I know I'll have multiple career paths.
Yeah.
DJ,
I'm
what's
fine
your
with.
dream job?
Well, ever since I was young, I always had one job in mind. And that was I just wanted to own a company that I could have a big impact on the world. Just something that I created. It had to be something I invented or created, not peddling other people's stuff, not, sales manager or, anything like that. It had to be something, produced.
That you did.
Yeah.
Your idea and thought that actually changed humanity for the better, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess I always craved that respect or something like that. Probably didn't get enough of it as a kid or something.
Yeah. Your way of feeling like validated that you're worthy, that you mean something.
Yeah.
Made an impact.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just that simple.
Do you ever think of like legacy? Like, did you, where you're always like, oh, like I want to have a legacy. Like I want people to like remember
DJ
or use
listening.
this long after I'm gone,
Only in an invisible way. you know,
Like they wouldn't know you made it, but like
right, but
yeah.
it's still around. Like I invented, you know, the straw dispenser or the paperclip or
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
just
yeah.
something that's everywhere, and it's just like my own little game.
And you know that you did it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'll die, and you know everyone will use it forever.
Exactly.
I like that. I get that.
So that might be weird, but
No, I mean, yeah, there's totally psychology in that, but it's cool. I mean, yeah.
all right. To wrap it up here, we're going to go through and quickly list all of the jobs we've ever had. Greg.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Whammy.
Whammy.
Okay. Golf caddy. Worked as a bag boy at Safeway. I made sandwiches at Sub Shop. I worked in restaurants as a waiter in fine dining and regular, just casual dining. I worked as a painter for a company for probably over a year, painting exterior and interior homes. I worked as a grunt for a guy out in a town close by.
What's a grunt?
A grunt meaning all I did is hard labor stuff, picking up trash and garbage and building up piles to have hauled out and just crap work. And then I used to give blood. I'd give plasma every like 3 weeks. I gave plasma. That was a job because I got paid for that. So I'd do that along with my server job in college so I could get more money. And then I sold the first flip cellular phones, the Motorola's, back in the 80s, around 1987, 88, somewhere in there, when Motorola came out with one of the best phones ever with a pull-out antenna. I sold those door to door, and then I sold water purifiers that turned out to be an MLM scam, multi-level marketing. It was awful.
That's bad.
Yeah, I probably sold, I'm not even going to exaggerate. I probably sold 28 to 30 something of these and installed them because I was in charge of disconnecting the plumbing underneath and connecting their water line through this thing and back to the faucet.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so I had to take apart their plumbing and install these things under their cabinet. And I'm selling them like hotcakes. I was a great salesman, right? I could do this. You guys need this in order to live. If you don't have this water purifier, none of you are going to make it. And all of a sudden, I get this phone call saying, hey, there's no more of this company. It's done. The people that are in charge are going to jail or something like that. It was a multi-level marketing scam. Well, I never saw a cent.
No.
Oh, no.
Not $1. And I hustled. I think I worked for over maybe 20 days and I sold over 30 of these and installed them all. I mean, I'm talking 1.5 a day I was getting into homes and
Yeah.
I was a hustler. I was a door-to-door pounding the pavement hustler, which you did back then to go make money. You had to go knock on doors and ring doorbells and ask people if they want your services, right? That's what we did. I used to mow lawns. That was another job I did. Knock on doors. Would you like your lawnmower? How much is it? $10. Okay, no problem. Or $5, whatever it is. I hustled. Okay, so from there, go to server again in restaurants. And then in the 90s, I owned my own business now in automotive. And then 12 years after that, I started in construction and I'm the owner of a construction residential developing company, and that's what I've done since then. So for 23 years now, I've been building.
Wow.
So
Nice.
those have been all my jobs up until my last 2 careers, basically.
Okay. Asya.
Okay, I started I cleaned my parents' friends' cars. That was the first, pocket money, a little extra. Then I would help my uncle clean his rental house, I hated that. Then the piercing, manufacturing, shipping situation. Pizzeria, literally making pizzas and salads and dinners and also serving and driving and doing the register. And that was probably at 16.
Yeah.
I did that for a long
Oh,
time.
I was a delivery driver pizza too in college.
Nice.
Sorry, forgot.
I
Go
feel
ahead.
like everyone has to have that job at some point. After that, I did what was that called?
Caregiving.
Caregiving for people with
Special needs.
special needs.
Yeah.
Thanks. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Then I went to college, another pizzeria.
Sounds like you like
did-
pizza.
Oh, hey, free food. What's better than
yeah.
free food if you're a teenager or in college? Then I worked at a architecture firm, did drafting. I worked, let me think. I guess that's everything I did in Germany. And then here in America, I did some interior design. I did caregiving again for an older lady. And yeah, just helping my husband do some random things around his current business. So a little bit of everything. Ooh,
Love it.
and I worked in my
What about
sister's
Costco?
firm.
You do
Oh, yeah.
Costco.
I did Costco. So I did a little bit of sales at Costco. And I worked for my sister. That was a good one too. She has they manufacture clothing, blouses and stuff. But that was good because again, you're a little bit the girl for everything.
Yeah.
That was always my favorite thing. Just
Okay, that's
the one
cool.
who does it all.
Hands and everything.
Yeah.
No, me too.
Okay, what about you, Jordan?
I'm 23, so babysitting, dog watching, animal watching, growing up. And then Jimmy John's, like I said, making sandwiches. Receptionist at a hair salon. There's something in high school that I'm missing.
Coho.
Oh yeah, I worked at a restaurant. There's something, I feel like I'm missing something in high school,
You did.
but maybe I'm not.
You worked Jimmy John's.
I think that was it. I mean, 16 to 18 is only 2 years.
Ooh, did you do any factory work? I forgot that.
No.
I worked at a grocery store in the back end.
I thought you worked in a store too. You did something in a store. I don't know. You worked in
I've had so many weird jobs.
like a clothing place. Yeah, you worked in a clothing place.
I don't think I did. I don't know, but maybe I did.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways.
Anything else
And then
memorable?
the daycare, worked in multiple restaurants in college. And then yoga teaching, restaurants, the property management, like property attendant.
That's cool.
I think that's it.
Nice. DJ? Hey,
Sure.
if it comes to you and
I know.
I was an astronaut
Yeah,
for
right.
Yeah,
a year.
DJ. What? Well, yeah, what are yours? Astronaut, race
No.
car
Physicist.
driver,
Physicist.
a Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, as a kid, I always started companies and tried to hustle. You know, we obviously did all the wax wash of all the neighbors' cars and did all the lawn mowing, that's for sure. We would repaint house numbers on people's curbs on all the waterfront
That's
houses.
such a great business.
Because, yeah, we realized you just needed some paper stencils and a can of black,
Done.
can of white.
Done.
And everyone on the water would pay you $30, even in the early 90s, 80s for that sort of thing. It was so great.
Money.
Yeah, I had a little manufacturing company when I was probably 14 making grind plates for rollerblades, you know, the wear services for skaters. Let's see, after that, I mean, I had the house painting job. I worked at the Ford dealer, and then they opened a Hertz rent-a-car there, so I quickly became the location manager of that Hertz. Let's see, then I worked at in the marketing department of a ski snowboard manufacturer in the late 90s.
Oh,
Was that Burton?
No, that was Ride Snowboards Full Tilt Wakeboards.
Oh, yeah.
Got bought by K2.
That was cool though because you got free stuff.
Oh yeah, they sent me a lot of great stuff.
That's better than pizza.
Yeah.
They should have done
Yeah.
And I
that.
got a.
Did you know Radar? Brian?
It didn't
that-
exist yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is pre that. But yeah, at least I got to have the whole light table, and I was the one choosing all the pictures for all the catalogs because they thought you're our target
So
demographic. So I'd find all the pants that had exposed zippers. I'm like, I want the one with the zippers on it because I like zippers on my pants, apparently.
That's
So
awesome.
anyhow, that sort of stuff. And I am just going to skim through this because I'm missing quite a lot. But then Let's see. And then I started a car stereo drop shipping company in college with my roommate. And then after that, let's see, I worked at Adaptive Engineering Labs making custom wheelchairs for people that can never leave their wheelchairs, kind of lifetime sort of stuff and all the manufacturing processes.
Stephen Hawking type things.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
And then I worked in my dad's company doing some patent stuff and manufacturing engineering. And that's probably when I was like 24 or something like that, 25. And then I moved on to Ingersoll Rand, which we talked about doing industrial stuff. And then I moved on and, what was after that? Synergy Systems. I worked in aerospace. I was an aerospace quality manager. And then after
That's a pretty stupid job. Like, you don't have to be very smart to do that one.
Exactly. That's why I got hired. I was actually a process engineer when I came in.
I don't know why they didn't give me that. I think I applied at the same time as you. That's weird.
Gotcha.
Same.
Yeah.
And then at Ingersoll Rand, I trained up and became a Lean Six Sigma black belt. And I was their new product development engineer, which we talked about. And I was a drafter there and a CAD modeler. And I started all their finite element analysis, failure modes and effects analysis program for them.
Yeah.
And then I did a bunch of testing there as a test engineer. And then,
I
we
think
could
DJ
just
has
keep
to
going.
stop because all our jobs are so boring.
No, keep going because
No,
my
this is
pizza
cool. No,
delivery
it's-
thing
it's
sounds
okay.
pretty damn smart right now. Okay.
No, that's awesome.
And then after that, I started my own companies, like the first grips for the back of an iPad and a bunch of different multi-tools and
Okay,
just all
what
that sort
age?
of stuff.
So Jordan and I still have faith in our
was
Yeah.
probably
future.
27 at this point.
Cool.
Okay, my train has left. Never mind.
Okay.
Well, that's awesome. Though.
So then started, it was at least 12 companies in the beginning there. And
that
then
can
Did
count-
any of those companies, though, it sounds like you start a lot, did you sell them off? Did they become successful? Then you sell them and then you start another one, or did they not work and they failed? Like what happened with those?
in the beginning, there was a lean manufacturing company that I started that didn't quite work out. And that's just because I had no idea how to start a company. I just tried. And then there was another one it was called Three Peaks Ventures. And we were doing some online social stuff way back before social.
Like in the 90s.
Yeah, but that was destined to not work out. We didn't have the budget or anything to really get that done. We just had a lot of big ideas. So there were a few starter ones like that, but then that turned into products, and all the ones I mentioned, every single one of those ended up selling.
Sweet.
So we just start another one, start another one. So we were doing product development, manufacturing, all of that, sourcing, and figuring out the whole supply chain, and then making the websites and all the branding, and then growing it, and then selling it. Doing all the trade show circuits, all that stuff, designing all the booths. But then those companies just kept getting bigger and bigger. And I don't think I've had a job actually since then. Yeah, just company after company until today. So we'll leave it at that. Manufacturing, software.
nice.
I mean, we've done supplements. We've done
Yeah.
every single category.
Well-
I put it at.
And now podcasts.
Yeah,
Seriously.
apparently
Yeah, I
Now
know.
we do a podcast.
But at least in DJ's whole line of jobs, at some point you found out, okay, I need to be self-employed, and every job beyond is just, what do you think is important and you want to do at that moment? Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. We're all entrepreneurs for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked those jobs and then I just started working for myself. And building small business and employing people and taking care of the middle class is number one goal for me for moving forward, no matter what. Build up our middle class. So good job. That's awesome.
See, I think I just rethought my dream job. I think I just want to make things, create things. If it's like, architecture or furniture or, vases, everything, because I need to be hands-on.
Yeah.
Because when Jordan, when you were talking about your house, that job, it's kind of more, I love doing that stuff, but it's kind of like I need to create.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'll just be a creator.
Good.
That's my dream job.
Creator.
An innovator.
Yeah. No,
Creativity is very
I
important.
don't know. See, not so much innovate, actually. More beauty, creating beautiful pieces.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love
cool.
that.
Well,
An artist, I guess. Oh, geez, that sounds cheesy. Okay, well,
I think
I
that
love
we've
it.
gone over quite a few subjects here. And with that, I think that's the end of today's episode. If you guys have any stories or jobs that you loved or hated, please feel free to leave those in the comments section. Or if you have any other topics that you'd like us to discuss, do that as well. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you on our next episode.
Bye, everyone.
bye.
Have a good one.
No topics out of bounds, 3 generations deep, we're breaking new ground.